plot to replace President Biden if he performs poorly in the first debate or his poll numbers continue to decline. The reporter who broke that story explains more of the details on Jesse Watters' Primetime.
What top Democrats are saying is if the worst comes to worst, there's two options. Either Joe Biden and his family do the right thing, call it quits, admit that they can't make it, and step down. But if that doesn't happen, top Democrats are saying that Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, Chuck Schumer will all have to unite and go to the family and tell them that it's time for Joe to go. You see Democrats out there right now already predicting that Joe Biden is going to lose the debate. But what they're really concerned about is that there's just going to be one devastating moment that will really crater his possibilities of getting elected. If that happens, then that's when they're going to have the tough conversations with the Biden family.
I love that it's the logo of our show on the rolling ball. Well done. It's Jerry. It's those little things, right? It's just those little accents that make you a Michelin star restaurant, right? So there's little touches, okay, that get you the high ratings that only the true connoisseurs understand and respect. And I got to tell you, I vibe with it, Jerry. That's a nice feature. The Benny Show rolling towards truth. You're not going to believe what some little birdies told us. We've been speaking with some people who are very close with the DNC. I know. Some people from inside the tech world who works very, very closely with the DNC. And you're going to be shocked about what we've learned. And you're going to hear about it exclusively on this show. We haven't posted about it. We're just going to talk about it. We believe that we have cracked the plot to replace Joe Biden, and we know exactly how they're going to do it. And we know exactly what the game's going to be to try and sabotage Donald Trump on his way into the White House. And it's all going to make sense. It's all going to lock into place on this show. Today, Tuesday, June 18th, 2024. Are Democrats ready to replace Joe Biden? Yes. Cringe Jean Pierre begins to literally lose her mind. And Senator Tommy Tuberville joins the show today. We're going to talk to him about the plot to replace Joe Biden. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. You'll notice, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm not going to be yelling and screaming on this show. It's because I've got a little tickle in my throat. It's something that you get when you've been on the road for the last couple of days. We did not go live on Friday or Monday because we were in Detroit filming documentary content. We were on the road. We went to different communities. We went to a community that's effectively banned the pride flag for Pride Month, like majority Muslim community. It's really fascinating. We also walked on stage at the Turning Point Conference and, well, did our best to bring joy. Here's actually that footage. It's clip 0, Klein. We'll pop that up. Ready to rock and roll. Let's do it. So, we had a great time. We got to meet what seemed like maybe hundreds, maybe thousands of people. There were thousands of people there at the event. This is what it looked like with Donald Trump and the crowd. Is just a rowdy event. It was awesome. It was like a stadium feel, like a rock concert or a rap concert feel. It was so amazing. But I'll tell you what happens. You go on these things. You go on these trips. Yeah, I'm getting there, ALX. You go on these trips and you meet so many people and you do so much and you're not sleeping and you got your energy ground down. And maybe these trips for you are like Christmas. Maybe these trips for you are like a big family vacation that you take during the year. It could really be anything. But that's what we did the last couple of days. That's why our show was off the air. The Wellness Company is the company that keeps us spry, that keeps us able to keep doing this. This is a pretty high intensity and energy job. And the Wellness Company has emergency kits. I have them right here. This is the his and hers. This one's for me. kind of nice because my vibe is black and white, and this one's for my wife. And the wellness company, their doctors did interviews with us, my wife and I, talked to us about our needs as parents, as people who travel for work a lot, as people who need to obviously stay healthy to do our jobs. You can't come to this job at 50%. You have to deliver 110 every single day. And they got us our own personalized kit. It was so awesome to go through all of that with them. And it was painless and it was sophisticated. And we feel extremely and exceedingly confident and feel great even after the incredibly difficult and busy last couple of days that we've had on the road. So I encourage you to order your own emergency kit with antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics. To order, go to twc.health/Benny. That's twc.health/Benny. Enter the code Benny for 10% off. twc.health/Benny, promo code Benny for 10% off. The wellness company keeps you going. Sorry guys. I kind of like worked in the turning point block with the read because, they kind of go together. So we mashed up, put a little sandwich in there. But yeah, it was super awesome. It was super awesome being there at Turning Point. It was an amazing last couple of days. Why don't I put the walkout on one more time? I mean, this energy is just so awesome. It's just so great. It's actually hard to see, but there's just thousands and thousands of people in the audience. No, white boy can't dance. I don't even try, really. Just do my dad thing like that. But at this event, as you can imagine, there are a lot of important people. The president's there, of course. Tons of senators, members of Congress, some of the most important people in the movement, arguably the most important people in the movement. And what comes with that is a lot of people from DC coming in. Whenever there's sort of a consolidation of power, you get a lot of people from DC that come in. Consultants, tech moguls, people that work for big tech companies. And I want to talk to you about a conversation that we had with some people, let's just say some people that are tertiary to very, very big tech and very, very big lobbying in Washington, D.C. at this event. And we went out and had a long conversation with them. They live in D.C. and they work very, very closely with the DNC, which is, their job to work with both sides of politics, right? Work with the RNC, you work with the DNC. And they began to spill the beans to us. I don't think they had too many cocktails, right? I don't drink at these things. Like I barely drink at all anymore. It's like too hard being a father, father young children, like running the schedule we run. I need full energy. Alcohol is an energy destroyer. And so I just don't really drink at all. So I was sitting there with my water. So I was hearing things very clearly. ALX saying he may have had 5 old fashions. Well, that's on him. Okay. And ALX is a different beast. And nobody has ever been able to show me that AI bots can get drunk anyway. And so I'm sure the alcohol has absolutely zero effect on him. Give me the photo of ALX in the Trump shoes, please. I know we got that somewhere. So we got into this conversation with these people who know the DNC really, really well. And who know some of the bigger players in Democrat Party politics. And they began to talk to us about 2 important things. Item number 1, that the DNC and Joe Biden and his team are mortified, are terrified, are totally and completely shook over the press reports and news reports of Joe Biden falling downstairs, crapping his pants, being incapable of speaking. They're so angry about it. Every single day, they get pushback from directly inside the DNC and directly inside a Biden world to say, like, you need to censor these videos, these real videos of Joe Biden being a infantile dementia patient. And then that conversation led quite profoundly and quickly to the state of the race with Donald Trump. Why are they so nervous about that? Why are those the things they want to censor? You'd think you'd want to censor stories about Laken Riley and like the murders of Americans, given the open border or bad policy in Ukraine or Israel, Gaza. Protesters, like, wouldn't you want to, maybe you want to censor those things? Nope. They want to censor the information that is present to all of us, and that is completely real, of Joe Biden falling down the stairs, being weak, feeble, and old. This is incredible. This information comes directly from the belly of the beast. But it gets worse or better, depending on your perspective. Maybe better. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a poll that was brought up in the course of that conversation. This poll shows that Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden by 18 points in Iowa. Now, I'm from Iowa. I live in Florida now, but I was raised in Iowa. And I got to tell you, just two presidential cycles ago, Iowa was voting for Barack Obama. Iowa was considered a swing state just like 10 years ago. Iowa did vote for Barack Obama. What the hell's happening here? Trump by 18, according to the Des Moines Register, a left-wing pollster, but nonetheless the best pollster in Iowa. The conversation that stemmed from this was, if Donald Trump is winning Iowa by 20 points, approximately, then Joe Biden is cooked. Because as Iowa goes, if Iowa goes in such a strong, muscular capacity to Trump, then that's going to have downward backflash effects on the entire Midwest. Joe Biden could lose Illinois. If these polls are accurate, then Joe Biden's lost Minnesota, Michigan, Wisconsin. You could argue that the people and the policies that actually got Joe Biden within the rounding error margins, where a few late night ballot dumps could push him over the edge, you could argue that the votes that Joe Biden did get in those states that were from either union members or from students, right, on college campuses, that those are no longer there. These college campuses at University of Michigan, Michigan State, University of Wisconsin, they hate Joe Biden. They stage encampments and take over their campuses in order to show you how much they hate Joe Biden and in order to protest Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't give a speech on college campuses for that reason. And so the conversation went, Joe Biden's cooked. These are the polls. And I want to show you how Democrats are reacting. Here's a Democrat John McCain. John McCain's a Democrat. His daughter, Meghan McCain, says there is no scenario where Trump wins Iowa by 18 points but loses Wisconsin. Ann Seltzer is arguably the best pollster in the country, certainly Iowa, and her polls should be taken extremely seriously. I'm talking about this Trump plus 18 poll. And then, ladies and gentlemen, people began to whisper in our ears, the people who know better, and the people who sort of know things in D.C., that the plot to replace Joe Biden is at hand. And that plot, as evidenced here in this report by the Daily Mail, by Charlie Spearing, a dear friend of us, maybe should have been booked for the show, but let's try and get Charlie on this week. Charlie's been a dear friend of us for a very long time. Charlie is somebody who lives in D.C., who's been a White House reporter, who has been reporting from inside of the D.C. ecosystem for the better part of 2 decades. And the guy knows stuff. And he comes out with this headline the day that we were having this conversation at the Turning Point Conference with people who work directly with the DNC. Secret Democrat plot to replace Biden revealed. How Clinton, Obama, Pelosi, and Schumer would topple the aging president and when they do it. So here's what we were told, and you deserve to hear it directly from us. We're not hearing this, I guess, from Nancy Pelosi herself. So, take it with whatever salt you wish to take it with. But here we go. The way that this is going to work is that Joe Biden has one last shot. He's already blown every chance he's got. They all know Joe Biden is totally cooked, that Joe Biden is not capable of standing on stage with Donald Trump. That's why the DNC is now suing CNN in order to get Joe Biden to sit during the debates. They should cancel these debates, and Trump should just walk away, I think. I don't know. I'm advocating against my own interests here because I want these debates so bad. And they'd be great for views and everything. But the Biden campaign is now demanding that Joe Biden be allowed to sit for the entire debate. Can you believe that? Which is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. But nonetheless, here's how it's going to play out. That debate will be seen as the high watermark, where it's all downhill from there. There is no hope after that debate. If that debate goes poorly, which everyone assumes it will, then Joe Biden, there will be a pressure campaign that Joe Biden will not be able to resist. And here's how it's going to go, because this will be disastrous for the DNC. They'll make Joe Biden resign. This is what we've been told. They'll make Joe Biden to resign. It's not that they'll swap him out as the candidate. They'll take him out as president, period. He'll be done. They'll take Joe Biden out as president. They'll allow Kamala Harris to ascend to the presidency for the last couple months. And while you laugh at that, consider the optics. You have Kamala Harris, you could have Kamala Harris effectively, then you could claim, first black woman. Look what we've done. First black woman president. You could claim your historic moment there, right? Try to get Kamala Harris some type of legislative victory. Try to rush through or jam through some type of accomplishment. Hope that there's some honeymoon period maybe. Kamala Harris then runs as president for the last couple months. And that's their card to play against Trump. Right? And then Trump's running against a strong black woman. And somebody who's so diverse and so stunning and so brave. And this is the card that they're going to play. And maybe Pete Buttigieg will be vice president. Maybe Gavin Newsom. I'm not exactly certain. But the card that they're going to play is going to be a desperate identity politics play. And they're going to have Joe Biden. It's going to be not based on his health, because that would prove that they're all liars. So they've all been lying to our faces that Joe Biden is, sharp as a tack, right? Clean as a whistle. That would prove that they've been lying for the better part of a decade. And we all know that's true. And then how then will they get Joe Biden to resign? They'll probably take the family issues that he's having and say that based on the family issues, and he wants to attend to his family and be there for his son. His son's facing more trials in September. And Joe Biden's just going to step away, right? There's just too much going on. And in his later years, Biden's decided to be with his family. Kamala takes the position, and they try and manufacture a honeymoon for Kamala and fix their numbers with minorities and young people, make Kamala some historic moment, right? And that's the switcheroo. That's going to be it. That's what we've been told. That's what we've heard. So now you know. The reason why is based on data. It has nothing to do with anybody looking at anything other than the hard numbers and saying we're going to lose by 100 electoral votes. And how could we possibly say that the 2020 election was above board when the most popular president, Mr. 81 million votes, loses by 100 electoral votes? How that won't square with the American people. So it's best really not to actually rerun that algorithm. It's best to just do the switcheroo. Now they know that Kamala Harris is more unpopular than Trump. This will sabotage Trump in this way. Trump will win. He'll beat Kamala Harris. He'll beat her in debates. Maybe not as bad as he would beat Joe Biden. Kamala Harris can pull that whole I'm talking thing, right? But Donald Trump will destroy her in debates. Donald Trump will win that election. Nobody wants to vote for Kamala Harris. I mean, give me a break. And then Democrats will claim racism. They'll say that the evil Republicans took history out of the hands of Kamala Harris. And this was her, boom, clap, hallelujah moment to change the world, right? And Republicans once again stopped history. They pulled the same stuff with Hillary. And so this is it. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the plot. Now, if you wish to see any further indication that that plot is at hand, just listen to Kamala Harris herself when asked, how's Joe Biden doing in the health department? Ooh, this is not a confident answer.
We were talking to some Democratic donors, and they have told us that should something befall President Biden and he is not able to run, that there would be a free-for-all for who would run as president.
Because Joe Biden is very much alive and running for re-election.
And Joe Biden's very much alive. Did you see it? He's very much alive. This is the best that Kamala can do. It's like she knows. When asked, if there's a couple that lived on your street and you stopped seeing the wife for like months and you saw the guy, the husband, and he's walking the dog by your house. You go, hey, Bill, where's your wife? Haven't seen her in a while. And he turns to you and goes, she's very much alive. Stop asking. Everything's fine. You'd be like, I think I should call the cops. Maybe. Like, I think maybe now is time for the police to come in. And that is the time. Now is the time. They've known that Joe Biden wasn't alive for a long time. In fact, that's the feature, not the bug. Listen to Barack Obama explain.
What you know now, do you wish like you had a third term? You know what? If I could make an arrangement where I had a stand-in, a front man or front woman, and they had an earpiece in, and I was just in my basement in my sweats, looking through the stuff, and then I could sort of deliver the lines, but somebody else was doing all the talking and ceremony. Wow. I'd be fine with it.
I'd be fine with it. Our dear friend, and somebody who we consider an incredible ally of what we're doing, and somebody who has been really a role model for us for a long time, Tucker Carlson. He uses this analogy when people freak out, when the ruling class and the elites freak out about something. He says when something is infected, you know it's infected because you touch it and it hurts. Ow. Ouch. Don't do that. Lay off me. This is the same analogy to be used every single time that you see a freak out about Joe Biden's age. I'm going to play you two clips here. One from Jill Biden, whose job it is to protect Joe Biden. She does a horrible job at that. And one from Cringe Jean-Pierre, whose job it is to protect Joe Biden. And let's go have a look. Let's have a look at how they respond to questions about Joe Biden's age. First, ladies and gentlemen, Jill, who I have argued on this program many, many times should be charged with elder abuse. You make a really good case to the Supreme Court that Joe Biden is one of the most abusive spouses in all of America. Ladies and gentlemen, Jill Biden, when asked if Joe should take a cognitive test.
Nikki Haley, one of the Republican candidates, is calling for mental competency tests for those politicians over the age of 75. What do you think about that?
Ridiculous.
Would your husband ever take one of those?
I mean, we would never even discuss something like that.
Never even discuss it. Never even discuss it. Hey, ma'am, Jill, here's what your husband looked like just this weekend. Next to Barack Obama, Mr. Earpiece Guy. Here's Joe Biden, a fancy Hollywood fundraiser, being grabbed by the arm by Barack Obama and literally manhandled off the stage. Look at this. Barack Obama legitimately dragging Joe off the stage. We'd never even discuss it, says Jill. Really? Well, probably because when you try and discuss something with Joe Biden, it sounds like this.
And guess what? It's growing. The economy's growing. People doing better. We have the highest unemployment, the lowest unemployment rate in 50 years. We have more people. We've had over 15 million people brand new hired into the workforce. You know, my son says we all have we all have various short-term descriptions for your jobs, for what you accomplished. And you should say Joe Jobs.
You feel bad for Barack Obama there, because you can see that Barack Obama got more than he bargained for here. He wanted his little earpiece president, and he got it. And I don't think he really actually understood the ramifications of having a truly brain-dead, smooth-brained, lights are out resident of the White House. And the horror of Barack Obama. Maybe can we get a still from that? Can we play it beside, just like in silence? Like the body language, you can't fix that. The body language of Barack Obama sitting there, like tense and intimidated, and looking like he's ready to drag Joe off stage. Like he just did drag Joe off stage. He did at the very end. Go, like he dragged him off stage. Look at this body language. You can see you can see. Like, he's very, very uncomfortable here, ladies and gentlemen. You can't hide this kind of stuff. No, I want the photo of them talking. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are... Look at Obama. Look at that. That is what a defeated man looks like. That is what pure defeat looks like. The full head of gray hair. At least I think it's still his hair. None of Joe Biden's hair is actually his hair. All of them are plugs. All of them are plastic directly into the skull. Look at Obama's body language. Does that look like a man who's relaxed or happy or comfortable with what's going on here? No. It's because Barack Obama sees clips like this. There's no faking this. Right? There's no explanation for this. This is just Joe Biden turning the G7 into the G6 by wandering off into the bushes, having to go be brought back into the fold by Italy's Giorgia Meloni, and then barely being capable of putting his glasses on. Why is his hand sitting there like a little tin soldier? Why is his hands like this? What explanation is there for this? Oh, you're going to love this. So Cringe Jean-Pierre says the explanation is that this was Russian propaganda. That video is not real. That video from the AP. That is fake, and it's Russian propaganda.
Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attack the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
My favorite part, like we don't really have a script for the show. We have like the script is just a bunch of a bunch of interesting articles and clips that we like, and then we just kind of talk through what we're doing, what we want to say for the day. It's sort of free form the entire show. We just kind of roll with it, right? Like it comes from the heart. All right, it's just the unvarnished opinions that we have, given the knowledge that we have, and our superpower, which is being alive and paying attention. And watching cringe Jean-Pierre being incapable of delivering what was written for her as a full-throated, like, muscular defense of Joe Biden, but she has to look down the entire time and read it. How compelling would the show be if our monologues were like this? You know, this is why Joe Biden is being replaced. Today, we believe Joe Biden is being replaced. Like, these people, they don't have brainwaves. They don't have anything going on up there. They can't conjure up their own sentences. It's all scripted. It's all fake. It's like Joe Biden at the Hollywood thing. They're all adult pretenders. They're all actors. They're all being paid to be there. None of them actually believe it. And it shows. It shows in clips like that where they're blaming deep fakes for literal videos that we can see of Joe Biden. These aren't deep fakes. It shows in the propagandists then repeating those talking points, which becomes so funny. And it fills our cup, truly. The salt that has been flowing as of late, as the collapse is at hand with Joe Biden and Biden 2024, and it's irreversible now. And now the plot to replace Joe Biden is truly at hand. Some of the biggest simps and some of the biggest embarrassing apparatchiks, North Korea style. Read the script. North Korea news reporters like Nicole Wallace are having panic attacks on air. Here's our salt that lib for the day. Nicole Wallace being very, very salty over the deep fakes of Joe Biden, like falling down the stairs or tripping on a stage or being incapable of speaking. Yeah, salt that lib.
There's a growing and insidious trend in right-wing media, broadcast, print, and social media. It is to take highly misleading and selectively edited videos of President Biden directly from Republican National Committee social media accounts and then use those videos to spread messages virally to cast doubt on President Biden's fitness for office. Here is this headline from the New York Post, quote, Biden appears to freeze up, has to be led off stage by Obama at Megabucks LA fundraiser. The full video posted by Biden finance chair on Twitter shows something entirely different. Biden reacting to applause and then walking off stage with former President Obama. It comes less than 1 week after the New York Post made a cover out of another piece of deceptively edited tape, calling him meanderer-in-chief due to what they claim was Biden walking away during a skydiving demonstration during the G7 summit last week. The only problem is that the full video, which emerged almost instantly, shows Biden was going over to congratulate one of the skydivers who's cropped out of the video entirely. Both the articles are based on cheap fakes, videos of real events that are intentionally manipulated to fool viewers, released on an RNC opposition research social media account with zero independent fact-checking by these so-called journalists and spread throughout the right-wing ecosystem.
Again, you can see the prompter. You can see the lines. You can watch your eyes. This is all scripted. It's all written. They don't believe any of this stuff. And it's degrading. How do you defend this? It is indefensible. But since she wishes, Nicole Wallace, wishes to say that the RNC is taking these clips out of context, presumably Nicole Wallace would believe CNN, especially Biden live on CNN, right? So here we have, as a raconteur to Nicole Wallace, Joe Biden, live on CNN. Nicole, can you explain for us what's happening here? No, clip, go.
About that, with just in terms of inflation, because you had told us at a town hall, I think it was in July, that this was just near-term inflation. The Wall Street Journal recently talked to like 67 financial experts who said that they saw high inflation going all the way or deep into 2022.
What if this was me? What if during the show I locked my arms, like right here at my sides, and was immobile? Would you call an ambulance? Because that was Joe Biden live. We're live right now. That was Joe Biden live, locking his arms in what looks like a maybe jetpack position. The internet remains undefeated. Here's what the internet says Joe Biden was presumably doing there. Here's a interesting little meme compilation here. What could Joe Biden have been doing here with his hands? Let's go ahead and maybe Nicole Wallace can help us here. Is this a deep fake, Nicole? This live footage of CNN? Maybe he's doing his favorite Beavis and Butthead impression. Maybe he has 2 spoons with pudding cup. Maybe he's using his hair blow dryers, jump-starting a car battery, celebrating Cinco de Mayo. This is my favorite one. Joe Biden just wanted to get the hell out of there. See ya! We'll never know. We look forward to Nicole Wallace explaining to us, through her CIA handlers who write her script, exactly what Joe Biden was doing and which Russian agents were responsible for Joe Biden behaving like that on stage. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we can show you poll after poll of Donald Trump beating Joe Biden just because of clips like that. The propaganda is not working. Trump up by 7 in Arizona. Donald Trump leading in Minnesota. Just wild. Remember, we told you, you can't win Iowa by 20 points and then not win Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. It's not possible. CNN guru saying that Donald Trump is headed for a historic performance with black voters. And it's just new poll after new poll showing Trump on a roll. And so this is why they're all talking about the replacement, the great replacement. Maybe that's why they get so angry when we talk about the great replacement, because the great replacement actually is what they're going to do to Joe Biden. Ladies and gentlemen, to talk to us about all of it and maybe to give us a little bit of insight is somebody who I'm proud to say is not a great friend or dear friend of Joe Biden, but certainly does serve inside of the chamber that Joe Biden called home for 40 years because he's never had a real job. Senator Tuberville joins the program now. What do you think, Senator? You think they're going to do the old switcheroo?
I don't think they have any choice, Benny. To be honest with you, they've got to spend a lot of their millions of dollars on a marketing program if they're going to continue to use or push Joe Biden for the next 4 years. It's a disgrace. I've seen it personally. I mean, this young lady that they throw up there every day to try to cover for him she's as embarrassing as he is, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, Benny, the country that you and I have grown up in is not the same country because the last 3 years they've tried to destroy it, and they've done a pretty good job of it. And we have got to get President Trump back into office, or we're not going to have a country left.
Yeah, and I think they're running out of options to prevent that. The poll showing that Donald Trump is up by nearly 20 points in Iowa would reflect effectively the blue wall evaporating in Wisconsin and in Michigan, potentially Minnesota, places like Illinois in play. Well, now you're talking 100-point landslide for Donald Trump. And do you see polls like this yourself, Senator? I know you probably, because you're so close to the Trump campaign, you probably get some access to internal polls and the crosstabs.
Oh yeah, and I get to travel the country and talk with Democrats and Republicans. The people across the country, whether you're no matter what party you're in, they're really pissed off about the country, the inflation, the crime, the borders, our military, which is just absolutely a disaster, and of course our education system, which has been degrading for the last 20, 25 years. And I mean, we've hit rock bottom with what we're teaching these kids, and now we got women and men participating against each other in sports. I mean, it's a disaster. And again, this is not what this country was about. And I think a lot of Democrats are going to vote for President Trump, but the Democrats got what they wanted. They wanted to be able to call him a convicted felon ever since that debacle as a trial. I went to the trial one day. I never seen such a sideshow. But that being said, that's over. Now we've got about 5 months to the election, and I think President Trump's on a good route. We got to stay on that same trajectory, and we got to get the Senate and the House. I tell people, if we don't get the Senate and the House, but he gets elected, they'll impeach him within 6 months. It'll be over with. So there's a lot more work to be done.
Yes. So you've been doing a lot of work on social media. I encourage everybody to follow Coach Tommy Tuberville on social media, but you've been posting some fire, Senator. This photo taken of Joe Biden and D-Day, you say that he's an embarrassment and that he's sleeping effectively and asleep with his eyes closed here. We sort of saw him behave very strangely during these D-Day ceremonies. You just said in your first answer, Senator, that you've seen it yourself. You've seen Joe Biden personally behaving like this. Could you tell us, like, presumably you have been in closed quarters with Joe Biden, like, are things as bad as they say they are?
Yeah. And, his handlers around him, they're very careful. His wife, she's around a lot more now. She wasn't around first year and a half. And now she's not too far away. What people don't realize about that picture there, that's the beginning of the ceremony, the American ceremony in Normandy. And my dad landed there at 17 years old at Utah Beach. So this is the first time I was able to go. I was sitting on close to the front row, not quite on the front row, but they brought in 200 of our veterans that had landed in Normandy. The only 200 really that are left, and they're all in wheelchairs. The average age was 101. Well, they bring them all out there for a 12:30 kickoff start with Biden and Macron. Well, they don't show up to 1:30. They leave those poor veterans out there for an hour. It was unbelievable. Nobody ever brought that up. I mean, I was fighting mad that here
really?
you got.
I've never heard that. I did not hear that.
Yeah, I mean, well, you're not going to hear it because of the mainstream media, and it was basically run by the Democrats. And it's unfortunate. But again, these poor guys and ladies were 101 years average, and they left them just sitting out there. So, but that being said, you can tell that the guy's not all there. I don't know who they're going to put in to run. I think it's a better chance today than it was even the last couple of weeks that they're going to replace him. I think the telling tale will be next week when they have the debate. And if he just falters in that, they'll put the California governor or Blinken or Sullivan. Those two are running the country anyway. So why not vote on them and show our displeasure of how they've run the country for the last 3.5 years.
We focused a bit last week on this D-Day clip that was very, very curious. And since you were there, we just can't help but ask, what's going on here, Senator, with Joe Biden? What is he doing exactly in this clip? Well, doesn't make any sense to us.
No, it doesn't make any sense. And again, he's just confused. My mom died of dementia, and she got to a point where she's confused all the time about any situation. I've been around other people the same way. It's just unfortunate. I mean, they even pushed this guy to do this, but again, he's gotten worse and worse, and people make fun of him. And this is President of the United States. You can imagine what the leaders across the world are saying. My God, what are the American people doing? Having this guy as their leader, but he's no leader. He's just a prop, and other people are running the show. And unfortunately, they're getting to do whatever they want. And as they're doing it, they're running our country in the ground.
Yes. So, okay, on an upward swing here, it seems like there's going to be a changing of the guard. Let's start in the Senate. Mitch McConnell is stepping away. As far as our show is concerned, it can't happen soon enough. However, there's been some good people who've thrown their hats in the ring. Rick Scott is a favorite of us. Can you talk to us about how to game theory that you have a deep history in being able to run plays and figure out where the ball's going. So what's happening with the Senate leadership race?
Well, the one thing I can tell you up here is the lack of number one is common sense. The other one is leadership. In Washington, D.C., starting at the President of the United States. We need a game plan. Since I've been here 3.5 years, the first year, Senator McConnell was pretty much there. We had pretty good leadership, and ever since then, everything's kind of gone downhill. It's obvious, you get to a certain point, either you get bored, you get in a rut, or you just start to lose it mentally. And I'm not saying he's to that point. It's just nobody's been on the same page up here on the Republican side. Now, to say that when you're in the minority, as we've been and I've been in my first 3.5 years. I mean, you just sit around and play defense all the time because there's no offense because Schumer's running the show, and that's the reason we have to get the Senate. But I like Rick Scott. We're good, close friends. He does have leadership skills. He's actually run a country before. A business, and understands what's going on. And we need that point. But what's going to happen in the Senate is you got 6 or 7 of these Senate races that are going on. I think the difference in who's going to be the leader in the Senate will be determined on some of those elections. And so John Thune, I would say right now, and I like John, I think he's probably leading because he's been the second in charge for the last few years. But I think that there could be a difference of opinion with a lot of people if we have different people elected in the coming election in November.
Yeah. And who the vice presidential pick's going to be and what's going to happen, what's going to happen next. There are 3 senators potentially up for the vice presidency. You have Tim Scott. I put air quotes around it because everybody in the Trump campaign tells us who knows, right? Who knows who Donald Trump's going to pick. It's going to be a game time decision. But J.D. Vance, Tim Scott, Marco Rubio. Donald Trump was just in the Senate, and he got a birthday cake delivered to him. I presume you were there with him during his conversation in the Senate. Can you tell us about that? Did he give any nods to who his VP pick is going to be? Is it going to come from the Senate?
Yeah, I've visited him quite often over the last 5, 6, 7 months, play golf with him. We've discussed it. Of course, he always talking about my colleagues here in the Senate. I think it would be good maybe if he did go through the Senate route because he needs to have more contacts in the Senate that get along with people. And I'm not going to say he's going to take somebody from the Senate. I'm to the opinion that President Trump doesn't need anybody that's going to help him get elected. I don't care if who he picks of all the people, 10, 12 people that they're looking at. I think the big thing is he's going to need somebody that's going to help him make a few decisions because number one, President Trump is going to do the most of the decision making, but he's also going to need leadership to go back and forth to Congress from the vice president seat. And then, of course, after 4 years, that person needs to be the front runner to be the next president of the United States. So who knows? Who knows what he's going to do? President Trump he'll hold it close to his vest, until the convention time. But I've got some very good friends. J.D. Vance would be good. Marco Rubio would be good. Tim Scott would be good. But I keep hearing Ben Carson. I keep hearing his name. This Doug Burgum. I think that President Trump's looking at him also pretty hard. But who knows? President Trump is going to keep it pretty close to the vest, and I think he'll do the right thing.
So last question here, Senator, because this is something that is all of the talk online and is trending across every social media platform today. And it has to do with somebody that you name dropped just 2 answers ago, Chuck Schumer. So Chuck Schumer posted a photo over the weekend of him grilling. I'm not sure you can really call it grilling. I'm not sure if you've seen this photo or not. I assume, again, given your background in college football and so on, you're familiar with a backyard grill, maybe more familiar than any of your colleagues. And Chuck Schumer, who's supposedly in charge of the Senate, is not able to grill without giving everybody salmonella here because he's putting the cheese on the burger before it's even cooked. You can see all the raw burgers there. And he's putting the cheese on top of an uncooked burger. So, that's not a ringing endorsement for the intelligence of the Senate leader.
Well, a few minutes ago, I told you the 2 things that are lacking up here in Congress, Senate, and the House is leadership and common sense. Well, that picture right there kind of tells it all with Chuck Schumer. He's been up here forever. He's trying to show people that, hey, he's just an average guy, that goes out and cooks and all that. You can tell he's never cooked in his life. First of all, he's cooking on gas grill. In the South, we call that communism. I cook on, with regular coal and, lump coal and the applewood chips and all those things to try to smoke wood. If you're going to cook something on the gas, you might as well cook it in the house and act like you're really doing something the right way. But, He probably never eaten a burger or a steak cooked off of charcoal grill. But there is, it just goes to show, I've been up here almost 4 years, Benny. I've been in the Senate. There's only 100 of us, right? I've never spoken the word to Chuck Schumer.
Wow.
He never acknowledged, if you're a leader of some, I don't care if even the other side, and you got people that come in, you come up, hey, coach, glad you're here. I know we don't agree on a lot of things. Maybe we can agree on something. I mean, this guy could care less. He knows he's one of the guys running the country, him and Blinken and Pelosi was when she was in the House and all those cabinet members that are so-called cabinet members. But it just goes to show you the trouble we're in this country when you have people that have been up here 40 years that couldn't really do a real job and don't know the American people. The Democrats have almost destroyed the middle class. And this middle class in this country is what made this country great. Right. And it's their opinion that they really believe that the elites need to run this country, such as Chuck Schumer and Pelosi, and then just destroy everything from the elites down and keep them in place. And I'm like President Trump. We got to build the middle class back. We got to bring manufacturing back. But it is, to me, that is the biggest difference in the Democrats and Republicans now. It's the elites versus the middle class Republicans. And my God, we have got to get that middle class back.
I can spot the difference here, Senator, of somebody who knows how to handle a grill. Are those steaks or are those hamburger patties? What do we got here? We got some giant burger patties?
Yeah, those are burger patties there. I like to cook steaks and chicken, and I cook it all, sausages, but there's a way to cook it too. You got to soak your apple chips or your hickory chips for about 30 minutes, and then you put it in your regular charcoal to give it that flavor. Big thing about cooking outside is flavor, but I also go out and smoke a cigar while I'm doing that and listen to your show and other podcasts while I'm doing that. It gives me a time to kind of decouple a little bit.
Maybe we should travel to wherever you do this smoking and grilling and do a special on how to properly grill. Maybe we'll do a response to Chuck Schumer. How to properly grill a burger.
What we could do is invite him. We can invite him and teach him how to do it. He wouldn't know the difference between a hot dog and a hamburger patty. I'll tell you right now.
Yes. Yeah, Democrats have proven, as of late, they don't know differences between hot dogs and hot dog buns. Thank you, Senator, so very much. God bless you. You're one of the real ones in the Senate, and you just bring such a clear-eyed coach's perspective to everything. Everybody hop on in there, follow Senator Tuberville. We're going to get him up. We're going to get him up to 100,000, and he's one of the good ones. Godspeed,
Thank
Senator.
you, Benny. Thank you. God bless.
All right. I mean, was that inappropriate, the hot dog versus hot dog bun thing? I don't know. I see. I'm a father. I got too many kids. I got all these kids, right? Like, I can make a dad joke. Got a dad joke. I got my dad joke card. I should actually get a card printed. Dad joke. Boom. Boom. I got the card. I got it. I have my dad joke card. Man, we want to be encouraging on this program. We always want to ensure that we bring you real news, but also do so in a way that's not doomer, right? Something that really got under my skin listening to some of the speeches this weekend. I'm not going to name names, but the easiest thing to do is to just be like, it's all going to hell in a handbasket, and we have no hope, and we have no future, and we're all doomed. Like, that's not going to attract people to our cause. Our cause, the freedom movement, is such an awesome movement right now. It's such an inspirational movement. And we have so many good things going our way. So we should actually grab that energy and run with it. It's something that attracts new people. When you have optimism, when you have good energy, when you have inspiration, it's why the freedom movement is attracting people like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk right now, and some of the biggest comics in the country. You're seeing like extremely based Dave Chappelle, Jerry Seinfeld. It's remarkable what's happening. And it's because we have positive energy on our side. And the tyrants will never be able to understand it. And they'll never be able to have that energy. And so we should embrace it, right? We should embrace that, and we should try and be uplifting. I have an uplifting clip to play for you in just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. You might call it a solid gold clip, ladies and gentlemen. Solid gold, brought to you by our friends at Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold is the gold and precious metals company that I choose to get my precious metals through. It was amazing. I did a walk early in the morning, go get a coffee while we were up in Detroit. And there's a financial sector in Detroit, and they had this big board on the financial sector tracking raw materials. And it was like every raw material was shooting through the roof. It's because we live in times of deep insecurity and a lot of change. Some of it scary, some of it good. But either way, people are going to move into commodities, into real. That's why they call real estate real estate. And it's why they call precious metals precious, because there's only a limited amount of them that makes them valuable, unlike the American dollar. I encourage you, ladies and gentlemen, to invest in something that is real. You can do it with physical gold, like I do, or you can convert your 401 or your IRA, and my friends at Allegiance can help you do that. Go to protectwithbenny.com today. Call 844-66-BENNY. Right now, get $5,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Don't get fooled by inflated stock values or crazy crypto markets. It's been nuts. Protectwithbenny.com today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Your uplifting video of the day. CNN data analyst, and we've looked through quite a bit of data on this show, gasping. Literally left gasping with his jaw on the floor, saying that Donald Trump is headed for a historic win because of black voters, Hispanic voters, and young voters. Boom.
It's 70%. That's a 16-point drop, John. And more than that, it's not just that Joe Biden is losing ground, it's that Donald Trump is gaining ground. You go from 7%, single digits at this point in 2020, to now 21%. And again, John, I keep looking for signs that this is going to go back to normal, and I don't see it yet in the polling. If anything, right now we're careening towards a historic performance for Republican presidential candidate, the likes of which we have not seen in 6 decades.
And when you dig into this number here, what is the makeup of that number?
This is where we get very interesting. So I decided to dive deeper into the crosstabs, figure out where is it that Joe Biden is truly struggling among black voters. All right, so this is black voters, Biden versus Trump margin. Look at black voters age 50 and older, and you'll see, look, Joe Biden was leading amongst this group at this point by 83 points back in 2020. Now it's 74 points. So yeah, a slight decline in that margin, but nothing out of this world. Look at black voters under the age of 50. Holy cow, folks. Holy cow. Look at this. Joe Biden was up by 80 points among this group back at this point in 2020. Look at where that margin has careened down towards. It's now just, get this, 37 points. That lead has dropped by more than half, Mr. Berman. I just never seen anything like this. I'm like speechless, because you always look at history and you go, okay, this is a historic moment. If this polling is anywhere near correct, we're looking at a historic moment right now where black voters under the age of 50, which have historically been such a big part of the Democratic coalition, are leaving it in droves.
That is a huge drop over a 4-year period.
We have taken liberties with alliteration on this program. We say jaw on the floor or gasping, and we like using those kind of terms. We think they're funny and colorful. That's literally jaw on the floor gasping from CNN. That's legitimately these guys left in shock based on the recent polling. Let's cruise through it here, ladies and gentlemen. The forecast here for Real Clear Politics polling. Donald Trump victory by 100 points. I want to stop. I want to take a moment here to say something. Really important, because we had some big conversations with the Turning Point Action people this weekend, and they're doing major ballot work, right? Wherever legal, knocking on doors, asking people about their ballots, right? Asking people if they can help them register to vote. Going to Republican homes that are listed as Republicans but didn't vote in 2020. So didn't vote. Why didn't you vote in 2020? And there's a phenomenon that's happening, and Turning Point Actions knocked millions of doors. A phenomenon that's happening where those homes who didn't show up to vote are the voters inside of those homes who have Trump stickers on their cars and Trump sign in their yard. They didn't bother showing up to vote for Trump. And when confronted with that information, they actually scream that they did vote for Trump. So two things, it's either one of two things. There's some grand conspiracy theory, there's some algorithm somewhere to delete their votes. I think that's less likely. I think it's more likely that a lot of people live their lives and then just sort of shrug their shoulders and say, oh yeah, I'm sure it'll work out for us in the end. I got things to do. I got to go boating this weekend. I don't have time for boat. So I got to go boating this weekend. Got to get a new pump for the boat. I don't have time to show up and vote. Okay? Democrats don't do that. Democrats, they go and stand in lines. They got nothing else to do. And that's the problem. The reason why Kari Lake is not the governor of Arizona is because Republicans had lives and they fried all the machines, and then all the Republicans didn't vote. And the phenomenon that is beginning to take hold is that Republicans just don't vote. If you wish to manifest this, which is what the polling shows, polls don't equal votes, you need to get your ass to the polling location. You should vote 30 days early. You should send in your vote 30 days early, if that's allowed in your state. If you're on the road, if you're taking an RV trip, okay, and nothing's going to get in the way of your RV trip with your wife, you should get an absentee ballot mailed to you wherever you're going in South Dakota, okay? Doesn't matter. Just tell them you'll be traveling, and you got to mail an absentee ballot. Don't be the person that is the reason why we lost the country. If we lose this election, let's keep going through all the data here. We got some crazy stuff. Here's the battleground states, the top battlegrounds, Real Clear Politics average. Crazy. Look at this. Donald Trump leading in every single battleground state. Every single one. Joe Biden is seeing his 13th quarter approval average, lowest in history. Joe Biden averages lowest approval rating of all presidents ever to run for office. That is breathtaking. And also the chances of Trump winning. Now, from The Economist, the chances of Trump winning is now at 72%. Incredible. Biden at 28%. Look at these numbers. These numbers are wild. You got to actually see. You got to actually see this data. It's insane. You can actually zoom in here and see how Joe Biden is collapsing. If you want this to happen, if you want to manifest this, then you are going to have to show up to vote. The only thing that stops this from happening is if a bunch of, I'll say it, lazy, slovenly, spoiled, entitled Republicans who need to go change their boat pumps decide that someone else is going to save the country. Don't worry. I got an errand to run. Can't vote today. Don't let that be you. You'll lose the country for us forever. Here's the by the way, the Joe Biden polling low. It averages 38.7% job approval. There has never been an easier win in history, ladies and gentlemen, than this. Goodness gracious. It's all there on a platter, if Joe Biden even makes it. But if they flip to Kamala Harris, then then it's going to be even worse. Will they flip? We're not exactly sure. We don't know. Let's have our final clip of the show here being Charlie Spearing, who wrote the article about the plot to replace Joe Biden, sort of explain the architecture of the move to replace Joe Biden. Here we go.
So if Joe bombs in this debate, which your hearing was pushed until late June in order to give the kingmakers a little room to maneuver. So if he bombs, you're saying they'd wait for Dr. Jill and Hunter to say, hey, Joe, we got to go?
Right. You see Democrats out there right now already predicting that Joe Biden is going to lose the debate. But what they're really concerned about is that there's just going to be one devastating moment that will really crater his possibilities of getting elected. If that happens, then that's when they're going to have the tough conversations with the Biden family. That's when they're going to have the tough conversations with the rest of the party, when they all unite. Right now, Nancy Pelosi is probably Joe Biden's biggest offender. She is 83. She thinks of Joe Biden as the young one, and she is absolutely the number one defender of Joe Biden at this point. Bill Clinton, as you mentioned earlier, he might have other motivations. And we all know that Barack Obama once tried to keep Biden off the ticket. He succeeded in 2016, making the way for Hillary, who eventually lost. He tried to keep Joe Biden from running in 2020. That didn't work. And ultimately, Obama had to be the one to quietly behind the scenes tell everybody else to quit so that Joe could win, because it was very obvious that Bernie Sanders was knocking at the door.
Mm-hmm. Baby, we out ya. This is all happening because of us. It's all happening because of this show, because of shows like this, because of you, because of movements like this that have exposed Joe Biden in spite of all of the attempts to prop him up. Now even the New York Times is crumbling. Just really quickly here. New York Times columnist who supported Biden encourages him to drop out of the race, sleepwalking to defeat. You are sleepwalking to defeat. Also the New York Times. The question is not if Biden should step aside, but how Biden should step aside. Oh, my goodness. And finally, the most beloved pollster of the left, Nate Silver. This guy is like a miniature deity on the left, saying effectively that Joe Biden is the all-time most unpopular president. Dropping out would be a big risk, but there's some threshold at which running is a bigger risk. Are we there yet? I don't know. It's more than fair to ask. This is the darling of leftist pollsters. Biden just hit an all-time new low in approval. Look at those numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to manifest it. We're going to manifest it. We're going to make it all happen. We're going to do it right here on the Benny Show. It's going to be glorious. It's going to be a glorious romp for the next couple of months. And we're going to be there for you. We thank you for being there for us. If you wish to join the Benny Brigade to support our show, then please head on over to BennyJohnson.com and sign up for the Benny Brigade for the cost of, it's more expensive to get a Starbucks coffee than to sign up for the Benny Brigade. It's more expensive to get a large fry at McDonald's. You can sign up, and then you'll be mailed our custom Benny Brigade keychain. Look at the beautiful keychain there. Got the salty tank. You got the tank shooting the salt. Ladies and gentlemen, it is absolutely the way to support us and keep us going. We do not want to be bought, owned, or operated by the corporate media, the corporate press, the people who like pull the strings and dance, monkey dance. Nope, we've been there. We don't want that. And so we thank you for supporting the show. You really make it all possible for us. The other thing that makes it possible for us is our faith in our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, because Christ is King. Verse of the day, Romans 6:17. Thanks be to God that through you, thanks be to God, correction, though you used to be slaves to sin, you wholeheartedly obeyed the teachings to which you were entrusted. You have been set free from sin and have become slaves to righteousness. You cannot serve two masters, right? Like, you're going to be the master to somebody. So either the spirit of darkness is going to be your master or the spirit of light. And we try our hardest to bring salt and light on this program. That's what Christ calls for us to do. So salt and light, ladies and gentlemen, it is the way to live. Marching forward with our heads held high, upright, and ready to fight. It's your boy Benny, marching right alongside you. See ya.